Hey y'all, my name is Mel, and this project is meaningful to me because it's a platform we created for women to freely express themselves and be the loud and proud, confident women that they're entitled to be.
Hey, I'm Vicky, and just like Mel, I've been in and witnessed too many situations where I felt prejudged and misunderstood, or even worse, was provoked and later on was labeled as crazy for loving myself enough to stand up for me.
Honestly, if I had a dollar for each time I've been called crazy or too much, simply for standing up for myself or asking questions when things didn't add up, I'd be on an island I bought with that money right now. And I almost started to believe it, that it was me. But then I realized over time that my voice was my power. And through my story and through this podcast, I hope to inspire women from all walks of life to find their courage and speak up.
I'm beyond over being told to take it, and I wanted to be the voice for the ladies who aren't quite ready to roar just yet.
Women aren't to be placed in a box. We come from different backgrounds and have different journeys, and that's pretty much how we become ourselves and find our purpose. So a man has no place telling us how to be, neither does society. I really hope women listen to this podcast and feel heard and realize there's nothing wrong with a little crazy as long as it means you're freely expressing yourself.
This podcast will touch on all things woman. Let's get crazy.
Speaking of crazy, this episode is very dear to our hearts. We hope that it reaches many of you out there because it's definitely something that Vicky and I have talked about many times amongst ourselves. So I'll let you take the torch, Victoria.
Basically, this week's episode is going to be what is consensual versus rapey behavior versus safety pussy. So before we even get into it, I'm just going to explain what safety pussy is. So safety pussy is a term that Mel and I came up with basically for those awkward situations where you go hang out with a guy. Sometimes it's a guy that you just met. Sometimes it's a guy that you've known. It could be someone you've known forever. And all of a sudden, just because you guys are in the same space alone, this person takes advantage of that and assumes that your body is there for them and makes a move. And sometimes you kind of get the vibe that if you say no, or when you do say no, the person gets aggressive enough and gives you the idea that this may need to happen so that you can get home safely that night. In that case,
Mm-hmm,
you've
mm-hmm.
either committed a sex act, or sometimes you'll sleep with the person. Even going on dates sometimes with guys, sometimes women get themselves in those predicaments unknowingly, and they end up
Mm-hmm.
having to fulfill what that guy wants,
Ooh.
able to make it
Mm-hmm.
home safely, because we're not sure, like, okay, you're acting aggressive, you're being weird, I've said no, I've hinted that I'm not interested, and you're still coming on to me.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, unfortunately, the only thing to do is to play the game and give it up to get home safe. I know plenty of girls who have been in this situation. I myself have been in this situation. So
Mm-hmm.
that's pretty much what safety pussy is. Safety pussy is when you have to take that split second to decide whether or not you are just going to give it up to make it home okay, because you don't know what this man's reaction is about to be.
Yeah.
And then
You
the
don't know
next
where
day,
you're at.
right. And then the next day you wake up and you're kind of like, damn, I did something that I wasn't ready to do with that person, or I didn't necessarily want to do with that person. It's a sucky feeling, but it's something that women really do go through because men take advantage of us putting ourselves in situations to be around them. But that's a whole thing that we'll get into throughout the episode. That's just a quick rundown on what safety pussy is. Safety pussy is basically the pussy you give away to make it home okay.
Basically. So I know that many women that I've had conversations with, or just in general, just myself, just like Vicky just said, it happened to her as well. It is something that occurs every single day. You meet a guy at school, it doesn't, people have this idea that rape is only, okay, I was at the club, I got drunk, and some guy, found me in an alley and
Mm.
molested me, raped me, whatever the case may be, and or I was kidnapped, or those are very serious situations, and they are um, to be, how can I say, they are illegal, they are to be taken seriously 100%. But what it is that women hold a lot of guilt, and what we're trying to do is diminish and extinguish that guilt that women get when they feel like, oh, well, my situation was, I did go to his house and I did, you know what I mean? And I did kind of like him at first, but maybe I didn't want to sleep with him. And oh, I shouldn't have gone to his house and I shouldn't have done that. So now I have to do this so that I can make it home safe. No, you do not. Uh, you know what I mean? Like you do not. You don't. Any man with any type of respect for you or himself. Sorry, what'd you say?
You said you can literally give consent and take it back.
Exactly. You're right. 100%. You can give consent and take it back. You can get all the way naked in the bed with his finger in your pussy hole, excuse my language, and be like and be like, dude, this is not working out. I have to go. And he has to be okay
You're not
with
wanted.
that. Mm-hmm.
You're not wanted. You can literally hit him with the "you're not wanted," and he has to stop. Like, the thing for me is there are so many men who are raping on a daily basis but don't know it. And when I say that, like, I don't want to use the term loosely because I really don't want it to sound like we're making fun of it, because we're not. But I just think it's ridiculous that like, people are so undereducated about what sexual assault really is, that men are walking around sexually assaulting women on a daily basis, and they're just like, what? If I see an attractive lady, I should let her know she's attractive. There's a difference between walking up to a lady and telling her, hey, I don't mean no harm, I just want to let you know that you look good today, and leaving her the F alone. And then the opposite side of that, which is to follow a person 5 blocks after they've
Mm-hmm.
told you they're not interested. That's creepy, it's rapey, and it's sexual assault.
It
Anything,
is.
anything that you continue to do to a person after they have made it very clear that they're not interested is a form of sexual assault. So
Mm-hmm.
the fact that men are not aware of that, or only became aware of that like last year, is really, really scary to me. That's a serious, serious problem. Another thing that we need to address, which kind of falls in the line of safety pussy as well, but it's a big deal. Spousal rape. Spousal
Mm-hmm.
rape is not okay. Just because this person is your girlfriend, is your wife, came to your house last Tuesday and let you blow her back out and rip her lace front off, doesn't mean that she's in for it today. And if today she said no and you take it from her anyways, today you have raped. I just don't understand what people don't understand about that. Spousal
Mm-hmm.
rape is rape. That's why there's a term for it, spousal rape. You cannot rape your spouse because you feel like you own them.
Yeah. Nobody owns anybody. Nobody, the thing about it is like our first two episodes were about male entitlement. And unfortunately, we're at episode 3 and we still have to talk about male entitlement because uh, that kind of plays into that it kind of plays into male men being entitled to. And the sad part is I kind of feel like they were raised like that. Like I feel like for generations and generations, it's like you find a nice lady and you make her your lady and you give her babies and you keep her home, and
Yeah.
and she has to be good and she has to be this and she has to be that. So not knowing that they're raising rapists, like you know what I mean, like men who just think that because they're the man and she's the woman, she has to be submissive, and if he wants to get what he wants to get, then he can get it, and there should not be a no. If there's a no, then you take it either way, because that's what her hole is for, and honestly, at this at this point, I am so sick and tired of that shit, just from being in that situation, just from hearing so many other women being in that situation where you're just like, you just have that moment. It's like a moment of like, he has asked you so many times after you didn't said, no, no, I can't. I have to go. My leg just fell off. My arm just fell off. I can't. My pussy's
Even
shut
if
down.
you hit them with the "I'm on my period," they don't. They're still. I'm
Oh,
just
you could just take a shower real quick. No.
like this. What happened to you that this is you're willing to risk it all for? Like, I just don't get it. And then it's just like, unfortunately, a lot of women are in those predicaments, and you have to go home feeling like a dirty piece of trash and blaming yourself because someone roughed you up and you decided, you know what, instead of getting roughed up and probably killed, let me just give up my body to this person who I'm not ready to give my body to. And the thing about that is that a lot of men end up, obviously you're going to end up blocked after that situation, because I now feel violated, and they're confused, like, oh, we had a great night,
Mm-hmm.
sex was great, and then she blocked me. She blocked you because you raped her. She
Yeah.
blocked you because you coerced her into sex. Coercion.
Ooh. Mm-hmm.
Do we have to look it up? Because I will look it up right now. If you coerce a person into having sex with you after they said no, it's a form of rape. It's a form of sexual assault. If
It
the
is.
person is not, I saw an analogy today online on YouTube, and it was so funny because it was like stick figure people. And basically, the analogy was, if a person wants a cup of tea, you have to ask them. If you're making a cup of tea and you want to offer this person a cup of tea, you say, hey, would you like a cup of tea? If they say no, usually your response is to mind your business and not make them a cup of tea. If they say yes, then you make them the cup of tea. It's the
That's
same
true.
thing. If they're passed out on your couch or in the back of your car, do you pour hot tea down their throat? No, because chances are someone who's passed out doesn't want hot tea poured down their throat. The same way someone who's passed out or too drunk to consent doesn't want your dick inside of them. I can get, yo,
No.
I have been drunk several times, sometimes by accident. Did a little too much more than I was doing. And I can guarantee you that not one of those times that I was drunk to the point where I felt like all I wanted was my bed, I was not thinking about any man other than the Lord, our Savior. I wanted help from Jesus to feel better. That's it. I didn't want any man in my vicinity. I wanted my bed. So for me, it's like all these things that men do that they think is okay. I don't understand why we have to tell you it's not okay, but it's not
Yeah.
okay. It's not okay to have sex with my limp drunk body. It's not okay to put something in my drink to drug me into that situation. It's not okay to sleep with me against my will just because I happen to be your girlfriend or your wife. It's not okay to beg me 15 billion times after the person has said no, and like beat me into submission with your dick just so that we can
Yeah,
have
no. Like
not
put it in my face, like,
okay.
come on, just
Yeah,
touch it. Just touch it. Or like dry hump me. Please stop the dry humping. Stop it.
no.
Stop the dry humping. We don't, it doesn't make us want you any more than we did not in the first place. Another thing, I was watching the show. I know a lot of people are familiar with this show. I May Destroy You.
We were gonna talk about
Now,
this.
girl, let me tell you something. One of the guys on there, um, one of them, was an actual, like, just 100% rapist, no doubt about it. Another one, it was an interesting situation, where the guy removed the condom during sex without her consent. That is rape as well. I don't want it. I, listen, even if you are
Honestly,
inside of me, if I did not consent to you not using a condom, first of all, it's a violation. Second of all, I don't know where you've been at, what do you have, and I could potentially get pregnant. I could potentially catch an STD. It is a violation of my human rights, like not just as a woman, as a human being.
it doesn't make any sense to me that you would think that that's okay. And to me, it's like, again, a lot of people don't know that all of these things are forms of sexual assault and forms of rape. Another thing that we really need to stop normalizing, and we have a friend who, Alea, I saw Alea post
Oh,
something.
boo
Shout
boo.
out to Alea. I saw
Shout
Alea.
out to Alea.
I saw her post something on her Instagram story the other day, basically talking about, I don't remember what movie it was that she watched on Netflix, but she was
Oh,
talking
I know. I saw it.
normalizing basically statutory rape. And I will be
Hmm.
completely and 100% honest. When I was 15, 16 years old, I hated teenage boys. I hated teenagers. I was a teenager who hated teenagers. And I think that just is more so because of the fact that I was grown in some ways,
Hmm.
but at the same time, I just didn't identify with the boys of my age. So a lot of the times when I did have a crush on someone, it was someone who was, I was 16 and they might have been 18 or they might have been 20. You know what I mean? I did have a crush on older guys and I didn't really see what the problem was. Now that I'm an older, I'm like years away from being 16. I understand why a 16-year-old girl or a 16-year-old boy even may not necessarily understand what the issue is. However, it is on that person, the older person. So whether it's the female,
Mm-hmm.
because females do this shit too,
Yep.
or the male, it's on you as the older person, over 18 or over 21, whatever the age is, over 16, wherever you are, the limit, the age is different. But if you are over the age of consent and you are talking to somebody under the age of consent, that responsibility lies on you to let it be clearly known. Look, you're this age, I'm this age, this is statutory rape. Now, I get it. Sometimes the ages are close. Sometimes it's 16, 17. Sometimes it's 16, 18. I'm not saying that any of it is okay, but I understand how it can happen, especially when you're in the same school. Some schools, you're in school
Mm-hmm.
up until 18. So it can happen that an 18-year-old and 16-year-old are going to get together. But again, if 16 is the age of consent, that's a little less creepy than you being 25 years old talking to a 15-year-old or a 16-year-old. It's just
Yeah.
weird. It's weird to me. Like, again, when I was a young teenager growing up, I didn't understand what the issue was. And I'm not saying I didn't understand the issue between like a grown ass man talking to a teenager. I'm talking about like as old as 18, 19, 20 at the most. I didn't understand what the issue was with that. But now, and even when I was 20, I was like, damn, I could never picture myself wanting to be with a 15-year-old for any reason. There's nothing to talk about. What are we going to talk about? We're not in the
Exactly.
of life. So
It's just
that's
it's inappropriate.
yeah, we need to stop glorifying that as if
Yeah.
it's cute to have a grown man who's 21 years old hanging out with a teenage girl. And it's not, that's not realistically what you want for your teenage
What
child.
can a teenage girl, like as a grown woman now, just thinking about what I would want to bring into a relationship? I'm not saying that a 25-year-old is even mature enough to, you know what I mean, involve himself in a relationship with a 31-year-old, but I'm saying at 25, you should be at a certain level mentally and in your life where there's nothing a 16-year-old fucking bubblegum chewing teenager can do for you other than you using her body to masturbate. I'm so sorry to say it like that. I saw a post, and it just sounded so fucking accurate. Like it was like a lot of these guys just use your bodies to masturbate, and I was like, you know what?
Mhm.
That's true. A lot of these guys are just like so fucking.
It's
I
like
can't say
we're the live version of whatever the fuck a pocket pussy is.
a pocket pussy or like a blow up doll. It's just that they just want the real thing. They want to grip on something. They want to touch on something. But once it's all said and done, once everything is done, that nigga ain't gonna call you. You know what I mean? He's not trying to be your boyfriend. So a lot of times when you think about it, being intimate with a person, you have to look at different levels of it and just look into it like, do I want to be with this person or even just entertain this person for for another period of time, or is this just a one time thing? And men literally will just see a woman,
Mm.
like her body. She could be a whole demon. She could have a whole alien living inside of her, Men in Black style. And he will be like, "Ooh, look at her body, look at this and look at that." And just in go out of his way, lie
Mm.
his way
Mm.
into her drawers. Like
Mm.
that's the part that I don't understand. I feel like that's a violation as well, and I definitely want to put it out there. If you're not interested in, even if you don't even have respect for this woman, don't touch her. Do
Well,
not, it's not for you. If I go into Louis Vuitton right now, okay, and let me check my bank account, okay, cool. If I go into Louis Vuitton right now, guess what? I can't afford anything in there. I can assure you that I will not steal it. I will walk out and walk my happy ass over to H&M,
mm.
or at
Well,
most Zara or something. Get me a little fancy dress there. But it's the same thing with men. If you cannot if you cannot handle the responsibility, or you don't have the time, you can't afford the time and the energy that it takes to get to know this person, her traumas, her what she's healing from and all that, you don't have any interest with that, do not touch this person.
it alone.
Violation.
Alone. And the thing, another thing I want to touch on as far as statutory rape, virgins. Leave these virgins alone.
Leave the
Leave
man.
even the boys that are the same age as the girls, leave these virgins alone. Let them be. Girls who have all, if you're a female, a younger female or an older female, and you have chosen to lose your virginity, it is not your business to try to coerce your friends to lose their virginity. That is a personal journey, ma'am and sir. Leave these virgins alone. Let them do what they need to do in the time that they need to do it. I don't understand shame. The thing about it for me is we shame people for being too sexual, and then we shame people for being not sexual enough. Mind your business. How about that? How
Yeah.
about you mind your business and leave especially these virgin girls, leave them alone. You have to look at a virgin the same way you look at an antique. You break, you buy. You
Mm.
break, you buy. So
Mm.
when you go and you mess with a virgin and you take her virginity and you break her hymen, you done bought yourself a whole bunch of drama because that girl is going to be attached to you. That even for boys, it's gonna be. There are a lot of grown ass, nasty ass women out here who are taking little boys' virginities as well. Stop doing that
Mm.
shit. Because when
Yeah.
that little boy shows up to your house at the middle of the night and your husband's confused about what this young man
Or
is
he
doing on
drives his car through your house.
screaming his name, trying to set your house on fire, you're going to be confused and bewildered. Leave these virgins alone. Leave them alone, especially if you're older. Leave them alone. It's wrong. It's a violation. You are robbing a person of the experience of choosing who they give their body to for their own accurate reasons. Grown women, what
Amen.
do you need with a little ass virgin boy?
Yeah.
A lot of these grown women that be doing that shit are already in relationships. They're married. And whatever it is that's lacking in that situation, they looking for in a little boy.
That. Sorry, I'm almost threw up.
You're sick
Ooh.
and you need help. And I wish a grown ass, I wish I would have a son, a grown ass woman would try that shit. I wish.
Will smack anybody that ever tries that shit
If
with my
you're going
son.
to jail, the same way that I would put a man in jail for touching my daughter, I'm putting a woman in jail for touching my son. Period, point blank. The thing about it is that if we're gonna preach about sexual abuse and stuff like that towards women, we do have to be fair and preach it for men as well. Because I know far too many men, far too many, that when you ask them about their first time experience, they were under, some of them
Oh
under
yeah.
12, and they're telling me
Mm-hmm.
it was the babysitter, it was somebody's older grown ass daughter, it was the girl
Mm-hmm.
from down the hall.
It was
That's
the
not
mom's
normal.
friend. Yeah.
That's not normal. And the same way that we seek justice when little girls are touched and molested and all these things happen, we need that same vibrato for these little boys. Because what happens is that these little boys get touched, nothing is done. They walk around high fiving their friends at 12-year-old. Yeah, I had sex with a grown ass woman. And then they are in turn sick.
Yeah, I would say that definitely, especially the men, stop telling your sons like, "Hey, yeah, you go, son." Like, no, 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 no. Let kids be kids. Let children be children. Let them just become who they are naturally and just by God's will. That's it, point blank. Period. It's just that like men, when it comes to men, it's like they do it, they don't know that they're being raped because they think it's cool, it's dope that this older woman was attracted to them and that she took their virginity. And the fathers and the uncles and the older brothers need to stop, how can I say, like glamorizing the idea of a younger male, and or like clowning them because it hasn't happened.
Mhm.
Like just let it happen when it happens. But just to get back into safety pussy, safety pussy, safety pussy. Sorry, I had to say, I had to say it a few more times. Just to get back into safety pussy. It's a wow. I can't say how many times.
Mm.
I'm telling you right now, I can't say how many. There's been situations where I get dressed and I think I'm going on a date, and after the date, I'm being driven to somewhere that we did not discuss,
Mm.
and then I'm just like, oh, okay, I don't know where I'm at.
Mm.
This person is quite aggressive. This
Mm.
person is shoving drinks down your throat. Just like, have a drink. It's 4 in the afternoon, sir. Like, no, just take these drinks. And you kind of feel like, I guess I don't have a choice. Like,
Mm.
I have had that thought
Yep.
so many times where it's just like, I guess I don't have a choice. So that's what we were trying to kind of break down, is that we
Yep.
know a lot of women feel like, oh, well, I knew this person. It was a date. I went there. I kind of was feeling him. I kind of felt like I wanted something to happen. That's why I got cute. I did my hair. I like this guy. But then you get there and you're just not feeling it, or you're just not comfortable. And, or his breath stink. Sorry.
And too
Things are,
fucking proud to feel that kind of nasty ass energy.
yeah. And you just change your mind, but then it's like, the come on, like you were saying, it's being coerced. Come on, your thighs being rubbed, and your boob is out of your shirt. You don't know why or how. And
Mm.
it's just like, you're just like, I guess I don't have a choice. We're here to tell you, ladies, that is not okay.
Mm.
And the action that you took, like, there's a lot of people who are going to be like, oh, well, if you went over there and you had sex with him and he didn't hold a gun to your hand, then that's
Um,
not rape.
what I want, the saddest thing about that, which is facts, first of all, the saddest thing about what you're saying is that it's facts. The second saddest thing about what you're saying is that men do not understand the trust that is handed to them when a woman puts herself in a situation where she's going to go somewhere with you by herself, especially if it's the first date or you're still courting her, you guys are getting to know each other. I don't think men fully grasp the trust that we hand over to them, deciding, yes, I will get in your car and go on a date with you. Yes, I'll come over to your place so we can have a couple drinks or watch a movie, whatever. I don't think men fully understand the trust that we give them in those moments. And they overlook the fact that it's a lot of, because it's trust that we hand you. It's giving you the benefit of the doubt that you are a decent human person, because we know that you're stronger than us physically. We know that if you come at us, it will be, even if we do get away, it's a struggle, it's a fight. We're going to have to use all the might in our body. If you wanted to do something, you really could. And there may be little to nothing that I could do about it, if anything. So
Mm-hmm.
for me, a man who's gonna disrespect that trust and disrespect that what should be kind of a silent code, that I'm gonna go on this date with you, I'm gonna come hang out with you, and you're just gonna respect me as a woman. If you violate that trust that the woman is handing to you, and then on top of that, there's a reason why you did it, that's very rapey, and there's a problem with that.
Yep.
I'm not saying you're a rapist. I'm just saying that you conduct yourself with some rapey behavior.
Yep.
Another thing that we need to touch on is rape apologists. Rape apologists is anyone who's going to make any kind of excuse for a person being raped or sexually assaulted in
Mm-hmm.
any way. So if
Mm-hmm.
you're a person who's like, well, what was she wearing? Well, why did she go there? Well, why this and how that? And well, maybe if you make any excuse for a sexual assault, you are a rape apologist.
Yeah.
You don't have to be the person who actually conducted that behavior, but you're definitely part of the group of
And you're
people.
an accomplice because,
Yeah, you're basically an accomplice to the act,
mhm, yeah.
because you're to be violated sexually. There's such a sense of being robbed almost. You feel literally violated. And then for someone to tell you, oh, it's not true because you didn't go to the police right away. Oh, it's not true because you didn't tell anybody. Oh, it's not true because whatever reason, that is further taking away humanity from that person, because the situation is fucked up enough. But then for someone to tell you it didn't really happen, or it happened and it's your fault, it's so demeaning. It's like it makes you feel like trash. And we need to stop accepting any kind of excuse for any person. This is perfect that we're talking about this, because the person, Trey Songz, just popped into my head. Now, I'm not going to touch on this too closely because I don't know all the details, All I know is that Kiki Palmer, who is a beautiful, dark-skinned, talented woman, said some things about Trey Songz a couple years ago, and nobody listened because we all love Trey. We
Oh
all love
yeah.
Trey Songz, so it can't be. But now, apparently, some white women then came out and said the same thing, and people believe it now. That is a problem in it of itself, but I'm not going to touch too deeply on that. All I'm going to say about that is this. Just because a person can conduct themselves with a daily image and has friends and we all love them great, doesn't mean that they didn't sexually assault somebody. So
Yep.
to deny this girl her truth simply because we all love Trey, that's not fair. And now that a white woman came out and said he did it, then he must have done it because he's a black man and this is a white woman. And apparently, when it's a white woman, then it's facts.
When Kiki Palmer said it, she was completely and entirely shut down. Like it didn't
Oh,
even make front page news.
yeah.
It evaporated into thin air. No one gave a shit. And I love her saying like, you know, again, we're black women. This is for all women, but we're black women, so we have to talk about, you know, our experiences as black women. And sh- we are constantly silenced. It's like there's no way you were raped, black girl. Look at you. You guys are promiscuous. You guys are fast. You guys are this, and it's no way. But another person who is clearly a groupie
Hmm.
has had other allegations of accusations, somehow is at all these celebrity parties with all these guys. And you know what I mean? And I'm not saying again, if it happened to her, I'm not saying that it didn't happen to her. I'm just saying that
Let
you
me
guys have like 16 reasons not to believe another person, but this one person who has never accused anyone else of anything, who has built a career on a clean image,
hmm.
now comes out and says something that, quite frankly, is a little embarrassing and has nothing to do with her brand.
Mhm.
Why do you think she would come out and do that other than because she needs somebody to hear her and to see her? You understand? So it's just so many things. You could think you're friends with somebody for years and it just takes that
So,
one night.
this shit happened to me. Let me tell you. Let me
Hmm.
have friends
That
and
it takes
friends
that
for
one night.
it takes that one time that they're feeling a little bit confident they had one shot too many for them to really think that they have the right to take something from you. And you don't. You do not.
Yeah.
And again, I just to go back to the Trey Songz thing, what's crazy to me is that I loved some Trey Songz. Loved him. I was an epic fan when he came out. I had to be about 14 or 15 years old. I was loved Trey Songz.
Mm.
Now I remember watching an early interview where he was asked about his singing and his voice and how he sounds very similar to R. Kelly in certain songs. And he himself said R. Kelly is his idol. That is the person that he looks up to. That is the person that, you know what I mean? He loves him some R. Kelly. Am I saying that he's a sexual predator and a monster like R. Kelly is? No, I'm not. But what I'm saying is when a person says this is my idol, we already know what we know about R. Kelly and we've been known it. It's not new. This is my idol. And then another person, a black girl, very similar to the images actually of the girls that R. Kelly has done things to, comes out and says, hey, this person who idolizes this monster did something monstrous to me. Why would nobody think that it's true? Why would nobody at
Exactly.
least look into it a little bit? It's just weird to me. It's just weird to me that we live in a time where people are literally pulling out tweets from 2008 to ruin your career, but nobody has looked up this clip of this interview that I know for a fact I saw and heard with my eyes and ears of him saying that R. Kelly is his idol. After a
That's
person,
true.
it's crazy. Like they will go back into the past to destroy anybody's career for no reason. Look at Kevin Hart. People went back in the past to pull out tweets to stop him from hosting the Oscars. And he hasn't done anything to anybody but maybe his own wife. And people have been trying to ruin his career. So why, if Kiki Palmer came out and said, Trey Songz did this to me, I'm so confused as to where the clip is of him saying, R. Kelly is my idol. Now, R. Kelly being his idol does not make him a sexual predator. That's not what I'm trying to say. I'm just saying that it's crazy to me that in a day and age where people will do anything to cancel you, He's just skated right on through. Why? Because we love him. Yeah, back in the day, they loved R. Kelly too. And now look at him. Look at him. Now we got a whole Surviving R. Kelly documentary. Come on, man. We have to stop being blind to these things. We have to stop being blind to the fact that these are real things that happen. These are real things that these are real things that happen every day. These are real things that need to be addressed. And these are real things that everyday men, the nicest kind of men, the sweetest Larry at your job, Larry's a little rapey and Larry don't know it. So somebody needs to tell Larry.
And he's like breathing over you. And I've had bosses, you know what I mean? Like come up, like one of my bosses came really close in my ear and was like, your cleavage is showing. And it was a male. And I was like, that is so inappropriate. Like they couldn't send a female manager, like just have anyone else, like one of my friends, hey, could you let Melissa know? Like it was just so uncomfortable and inappropriate. I've had photographers, which shall remain nameless, but I've had for mhm,
Oh
mhm.
my,
I've done boudoir shoots
I
where
remember
people
that.
people got a little too happy
Mm.
and lost their professionalism, lost control, lost control. It was humanity over, I'm not even going to say humanity because fuck that. It was like male instinct over
Anything else?
professionalism. I've had, you know what I mean? We've had so many of those situations. So we're going to conclude this episode with a few thoughts. And what we're going to do is that we're going to probably split it into a part two, which I guess Vicky and I can record tomorrow.
Yeah.
And so we'll do that.
Yeah.
So I hope that the women out there heard this and felt like, I hope that it made y'all feel good. It made y'all feel like, you know what? They're right. I've been in that type of situation and I kept it to myself because I didn't think that I felt like it was my fault. We're here to tell you that it was not your fault and that you did not have to do it. And we understand why you did. And no one should shame you for it because we understand how you felt in that moment where it's just like you said with the tea. Do you want tea? No, you don't take the fucking hot ass boiling tea and then throw it at the person, you know.
Exactly. And like she said, we are gonna do a part two because this episode is there's so much more to talk about as far as this topic. But for now, I guess this would be that for this particular episode. Look out for the part two of the safety pussy because we are gonna have to do another episode to conclude the topic. It's a little juicier than we thought it was going to be. Yeah, so we'll do a second episode on this topic because it's much juicier than we can fit into 30 minutes. But for this episode, look out for it, all the notifications on our Instagram page. You can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and now TikTok under Crazy Bitch Factory Inc. Make sure you follow us to get all the latest information of when the new podcast episodes will drop. As well, we will be dropping some new content on our TikTok, and we'll try our best to keep content coming for you as well on our Instagram. If you have any stories, questions, or comments, please hit us in the DM on Instagram for now. That is the best way to reach us. That's it for now. Thank you for coming to the Crazy Bitch Factory. See you next time.
See you next time. See you next. I mean, we recording pretty soon, so be on the lookout.